You love London, you love the energy, you love the diversity, you love the opportunities, you love being able to say, I live in London. But let me ask you a serious question. Does London love your pocket? Because loving London should not leave you financially exhausted, unable to save, leave you working endlessly to pay for your rent or your mortgage, or leave you living in a tiny flat where you pay a fortune for rent or mortgage. And for so many people, that's exactly what London does. And don't get me wrong, London is one of the greatest cities in the world. It is energetic, it is vibrant, it's full of opportunities. But the uncomfortable truth is that most people living in London should not be living in London. And it's not because they don't deserve living in London, but because they cannot afford to the lifestyle in London without sacrificing their financial future. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Madam Chomzi. For those of you that are new here, I relocated from the UK to Nigeria about 11 months ago, and I do document my relocation journey. I talk about so many things about Nigeria, my opinion about situations here, the situation here. So last week I did, it was last week. I did a video. That was my last video where I talked about, I gave my honest opinion in regards to what I think about people buying a house abroad first, or building in Nigeria first, or Africa. And someone left, and that was just my opinion. It's up to you what you want to do with it. And someone left a comment, and that was what led to me doing this video today. The person in the comment did mention that the figures that I gave as examples in the last video, they are nothing in London, as in regards to buying a house, which is true. But again, the video, those are examples. The point wasn't that, I wasn't saying that you could get a good mortgage with 200,000 or 300,000 in London. That wasn't the point. The point there that was made in the video was, don't go and borrow the maximum that the bank is willing to lend you, or they think you can afford. You know, take something that will leave you with enough disposable income so that you can invest and get another property in Nigeria, or build your home in Nigeria, or give you flexibility. You have, money left after paying your mortgage, not that you're working to paying for only mortgage and you can't do any other thing because you've gone to go and collect a house that is bigger than you. That was the point. But yeah, the person did, and I'm grateful for that comment, because it brought up a point which I would like to talk about. So I lived in London. I lived in North London, to precise. I lived in Enfield before I got married. My husband also lived in London. Then he went to do his master's in Scotland, and towards the end of his master's, we got married and I had to move to Scotland. So I can tell you, I've lived both. So I've lived in London, I've lived outside of London. So that was why I decided to do this video. In case if you live in London, in case you don't know, London is one of the most expensive cities in the world. It's not just, London is most expensive in the UK. It's not just one of the most expensive in Europe. London is one of the most expensive cities in the world. When it comes to housing, this is my opinion. I just think some people are just wasting their money in London. That's my opinion. The issue I have with London is what your money can get you. For you to live in a good area in London, most people cannot even afford it. You come and spend money, and I'm not trying to insult anybody or it's not an insult, it's an advice. If you want to take it, you take it. If you don't want to take it, you leave it. What it will give you is one rubbish area, one nonsense council or high-rise, whatever, and people, you spend that amount of money. Take that your money, leave, go outside of London. London is not the only city in the UK. Go outside of London. If you want to go live in England, there are other parts of England that are beautiful, where you breathe good air, good school, not your everyday gang. I'm not saying there's not crime everywhere. There's crime everywhere in the UK. But for me, what I think is that most of our people waste their money, go and be living in area that every small thing, all your children are involved in gang, or they are, even when they're not in gangs, they're somehow they are roped into it. And this is my opinion. I'm just giving you an advice. If you have children, for me, I don't think the places I would want to live in London, because I know that the places I know that they are very, 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 very expensive. London, rubbish area is very, very expensive. How much more of good area? So my advice for people that don't earn that much, even people that earn so much, London is still, to me, it's like you're still managing. I went to look at, they said the average cost of house in London, that's what it says when I Googled. It said, I think 500,000 and something, or, you know, carry 500,000 and go to other cities, you know, you get good house, where you breathe good air. You live in the suburb. No, you be living where it's just nonsense every day. Things are stinking area, nothing, no nature around you. Your senses is always being assaulted by smell and the things you see. So, and I'm not trying to be rude or anything. Sorry to say, London is overrated. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Some people should not be living. Even people earning the mortgage, for you to get a mortgage, 500,000 to 600,000. Let me tell you what you should be earning, about 100,000. How many of you earn 100,000? Let us be frank. We all live in that UK, so don't come and come pass margarine. How many of you earn 100,000 pounds? Maybe you might earn it. Maybe if you combine your income as a couple, yeah. So please, let's stop deceiving ourselves. There's some people that should not live in London. Nobody gives you an award for living in London. And I think that people have this mentality, well, I live in London, I live in London. I remember when we moved to Scotland, someone actually called me. I was like, what are we doing in Scotland? As if we're in one village where they don't have water, they don't have everything that you have in that London, they have in other places. Apart from things that are just peculiar about London, let's say the historical sites. Even the work you work, so you cannot even go and see all those things. So, I don't know why, if you think, okay, because London, yeah, it's easy to travel, because of, you can still do the same thing. If you live in a city that has an airport, it's almost the same thing. If you take Lufthansa, you take KLM, the only thing, if you take BA, okay, they'll go through London. But other ones, it's almost the same thing from every other part of Europe. That when, as per, you know, airlines, they always go to their country. If you take KLM, they always go to Amsterdam. By the time they fly you to Scotland, the same thing as flying to London. And that is the truth. So, this is my opinion. Most people that are living in London should not be living in London. If you want, what you should be asking yourself is, am I living what's the quality of my life? It's not to say, I live in London, and see they give you a badge of honor, you're living in London. If you're living in London, you're living in a good area, your children are going in good schools, not gang everywhere, knife everywhere, you are breathing good air, then that's fine. But please, if you know that this is my advice, especially for people that have not been able, so many people that live in London cannot afford to get a house in London. It's as simple as that. Even if they're going to get, it's rubbish they're going to get. And if you're in that category, try somewhere else. Don't be scared. If you're a family, maybe one person should go, get a job, and you gradually move. It makes it easier for you. Now you say you're living in London and you're living in I can understand if you just come, maybe you don't, you're just in a place you don't know, but that shouldn't be the amount of money that you spend on housing for London, sorry to say, and for what you get compared to other places is just outrageous. The thing I don't like about London, whether it's a rubbish area or you still spend unnecessary, it's just too expensive. Even those places that we know that will say, oh, these areas are poor, they are full of crime, they're still very expensive. Now, ask me, what am I paying for? What am I paying for? So these are the questions you should be asking, not just saying I live in London. What's the quality of your life? Are you able to breathe financially? Are you able to send your children to good schools without fear of them being what I don't know, turned to criminal that you came abroad? So these are the things that you should ask yourself. And I'm not trying to be rude. I just want to make people aware, because I think that sometimes people just think it's only UK, it's only London. One time at the airport, it was so embarrassing. That was during the COVID period. I just could not understand how airport staff, even the manager, did not even understand that the UK is made up of 4 countries. I just could not understand, because then they had rules for Scotland for children was different from the rules for England. And my son then, at his age then, he was allowed to travel without doing the test, the PCR test, of what we called it. That's the test for COVID. And when we got to the airport in the airport at Lagos, we had issues. They just could not understand. And I was telling them, yeah, that's England. This is, the person kept saying, oh, but your address is UK. I said, yes, because we live in the UK. I was trying to explain, oh, UK is made up. I was doing all of that. Oh, they went to call the manager. The manager, after the end of the day, the person asked, anyway, you're going to London, because it was BA. So we had to go through London. Anyway, we are going to London anyway. You go through London. That was how the case arrested. So this is what you get. Most of people just think London. But the truth of the matter, if you go live somewhere else outside of London, that you will not even, don't get me wrong, there are things I like about London. So like my husband, I don't even mention go to live in London to him. There are some places that would live. I'm not going to rule it, but those places are very, very, very expensive. So let's be realistic. The purpose of living is to enjoy your life, to be able to be comfortable to the extent in which try to stretch your money as far as you can go. I think that would be I should be able to enjoy my life. There's no point I'm paying for this place. I don't know what I'm paying for. And the same thing with people. Everybody wants to live in Lagos. Why there are some people that shouldn't be living in Lagos? That if you leave that Lagos and go and live in, let's say you're from Anambra State now, you're living in Oka, definitely your hometown is not going to be so far from Oka. Why I'm saying this is that for so many people there in Lagos, they're just struggling. They're struggling. I saw one video, people go to market and they're buying tomatoes that has maggots. Why? In Nigeria. Sorry, I don't understand. Unless you don't have a land. But yeah, let's agree that if you live in a city, you might not have a land to do whatever, to plant. You get me? Or if you're renting or whatever. But most places in Nigeria, I think you should be able to do a bit of planting or gardening. And if you can't, let me give you an advice. If you live like in Okana, let's say you're from these other parts of Anambra State, or let me just say Enugu or whatever. Enugu is even close. The point I'm trying to make, you can live in a smaller city. If I live in Oka here, I'm from all these other towns, I can go to my village, ask somebody, most of us, I would think all of us, have ancestral land that is free, that has been passed from generation to generation, that most people don't even want to do farming again. So they've left those land. You can go there and say, okay, you go and pay someone, you farm that place. Weekends, you cook, you plan your weekend, you harvest, and you have food steady in your house. Your problem would be maybe to go buy meat or buy few things, but not that you spend your money. There are lands just turning to what I don't know, that are just wasting. No, people are not farming. You can go and farm your ancestral land. And that's one thing I like about Soludo's wife. Out of all the first lady, they call them here, I like her. She does encourage people. I don't know them more. I just like her for that. I don't know her. What I like about her is that encouragement, as in getting people to plant grow your own food. If she can grow her own food, who are you? She can decide not to grow her own food, and she will still buy very good. She can afford any kind of food, whether it's organic, she wants to, whatever. So that thing of encouraging people to plant, there's joy in it. I'm beginning to see there's joy in wanting to see your thing grow. So we have land. Our land is fertile. So these are the things that people should think about. Now you go and you want to live in Lagos, you want to live in Abuja, you cannot afford to live a good quality of life. Every day you're struggling to pay rent, every day you're doing this, children cannot go to school. There are ways you can simplify your life. Don't fall into that thing of what people think. At the end of the day, it's your life. Unnecessary stress. Try to find a way to be creative and be able to manage what God has given you and live a quality life. It's not that your whole life is to be struggling to pay for something, to pay for something, just survival. No. So if you're someone, this is just an advice. If you're someone that live in like big cities, that like Lagos, and it's even stressful, to be honest. So it's not, this person, so all these places they talk, I don't did there, nothing did there. So all these places are like overrated. And I know for a certain age, you want to do the London thing, you want to whatever, if you're 20s or early 30s, but it gets to the point where please, just stop all the bullshit and face your life. So if you live in these places that like Lagos, that big cities, maybe good schools are very expensive, and there's a way you can manage your life, even if you don't have the money to pay school fees. If you live in a small town, like here, or the capital of your state, Umuahia, or whatever, Abakaliki, it's close to your hometown, you go farm there, and you mustn't be the one digging. The good thing about Nigeria, labor is cheap. People have to learn to be creative in these times that we live. Now you go and work. If you're someone that is a graduate, I believe you should be able to homeschool your children primary stage. Sorry, there's work here, so you hear some background noise. There's someone, workmen are doing some things in the house. So you should be able to, I believe that if you're educated, you went to university, you should be able to homeschool your children primary school. If you don't have money, let one person sit at home instead of going to work the work that does not add up in the way you can't even pay school fees. You can sit at home and homeschool your children. It's so easy now in the sense that because of internet, it can even help you. You can go Google curriculum, follow that curriculum, primary school, to educate a child, homeschool children in primary school stage. I don't think it's hard if you're educated. If you went to university, you should be able to homeschool your children. Secondary school, I might say, depending on what you studied. But when it comes to primary school, you should, I don't know what they're learning in primary school that you cannot teach your child at home if you don't have money. If you have children that you cannot afford to pay school fees for all of them and you want good education, teach them at home. That's what I would say. So these are just little ways that you can manage your life and be happy and be comfortable. Not every day you're stressed unnecessarily because you're pressing calculator. Nothing is adding. Doing additional maths and further maths in your head. No, nothing is adding. Anyhow you try to do, finance is not financing in any way. Then you want to follow other people that have that financial stress to be able to spend anyhow they want to spend. It doesn't make sense in any way. So I think God has made life simple, but we humans, we try to complicate it. I think now, I always say that if you have land, you should be able to at least grow something. Grow something. That's one advantage that we have in this part of the world. In the UK, I don't know. The land, to me, you can grow, but you might not have, you might not have that much land. But people still grow even with the small that they have. So we should start thinking about things. I don't see any reason for someone to go and be buying rotten tomatoes in Nigeria. I don't, sorry to say. I don't. Buying tomatoes with maggots, that was what they were. Not even the broken ones. The ones with maggots. I don't see any reason. We have land. Our lands are very fertile. Even if it's growing in plastics or whatever, in bags, you can grow in that your small compound or small whatever where you live. You can grow it. I think if you want to grow, tomatoes will be one of the things that you should think of. We eat a lot of stew jollof, so it's going to be one of the things that you should want to grow. So grow tomatoes, go pepper, grow. Just grow the ones, at least even if it's 2,000, like saving you every week, it's something. So that's that'll be it. So for this video is not to annoy anybody or anybody feel to feel insulted, because when you start saying things that people feel insulted. I remember one video that I did where they said a 62-year-old man, it was one time, that was last year or last 2 years, a 62-year-old man that came to the UK because the wife invited him, and the wife later kicked the man out of the house, and he was stranded. Apparently, I think they said he had sold all he had to come. And I did a video that if you're in your 60s, and that was my opinion, and you have to relocate from where you are living, well, like to come abroad because of financial or economic reason, this is my opinion, and it was not an insult. It wasn't, go to your village. I don't know this mindset of I cannot live in the village, like whatever, but you can go and live in the city where you are dying. And a few people were insulted. I just said I don't see any point you coming in your 60s abroad to start doing all those like UK before you get your residency. All the whole stress that you go through. People were insulted. Some people were, there wasn't an insult, it's just an advice. Go to your village, you are protected somehow. Like my sister, when we went for my dad's burial, the things that my sister, like the village, they have food that these people are living on gold, they don't even know. So there's food in the village. There's food, especially if your village is not like my husband, their village, they don't have land too. Oka is like, my husband is from Oka town. Oka, when you say Oka, the main Oka, that's so they don't even at that, they still have. Like the good thing about Nigeria, you can go and beg someone, empty land, they're not using, they won't even allow you to plant, you know. But villages where you have land, massive land, if you want to live in the city, live in the one closer to that place and be getting food from there. Some of your food, most of your food. If you go there, process your cassava and do your gari or do your fufu or whatever you want to do, that will last you for months. That's it. At least that one, you're not paying for it. But the thing about like my hometown, if they want to cook, anything that they buy, unless the ones that don't have any chicken or whatever, is meat. Those people, they just go and collect from their distance. My sister was saying, if you see ukwa, that people expensive, that these people have it in abundance. Cola nuts, they have things in abundance. So let's come off this mindset that anything that has to do with farming is for poor people. There's a mindset that is associated with anything gardening and farming to be something that is will I say degrading or downgrading. We need to come out of it. We are living in times where food it's already, we're seeing it is an issue. Food is expensive all over the world. I know recently in the UK, all my years in the UK, I've never noticed like price increase. But there was a time after I was there, you will see it. They will increase it by one. If you don't want to buy, bugger off. If they don't even care, they don't do all those buy one, get one free or whatever, buy two and this. So things are getting expensive all over the world. It's not just Nigeria that so people are not eating. We have land, a lot of land. So people, if you don't have money, use the land. Take advantage of the land. All right? I think I've talked too much. So my point is that if where you're living, like people that live in London, and as I said, it's not an insult. And I'm not trying to, there are better places you can live in. You're working so hard, you're not going to even go see all those places where it's difficult for London. You don't even go to see it. So what is even the point? So if you like London too much, you go and visit. Weekend, come back. And I'm not going to lie on that. That's London. during the summer, the trains, no kind of smell. I don't smell the crowd. No kind of smell. So, but that's not just it. You get me? But what I'm trying to say is that if a place is not serving you, I know people say, oh, you earn more in London, but you spend a lot. It doesn't, what you spend, there are other places in the UK where you earn more too. You earn. So, that's my opinion, but it's up to you people, whoever, if you're in that situation, especially if you have children, really consider it. Really consider that the choice. If you want to get into property ladder, there was this lady that me and my husband, we watched them. That was a few years ago. They were living in London, they were renting, and I think they made the decision to move to Yorkshire, and they bought their house immediately. You dey London how many years? You know they buy anything. Yeah, you dey work, go round, live in those small council house that you don't know what. Don't get me wrong, houses in UK are generally small, but I'm just saying that it's not what you're paying for and what you're getting. You know, it doesn't match. You get me? So that's it. So thank you guys for please, and as I said, this is not to offend people, because people that live in London or whatever that, or you say I'm mocking people. No, that's not the purpose. We all went to wherever we are to, I would think, somehow, whether you went there to school or whatever, but you also went there to better your life, the quality of your life. I do think that it's important. The quality of your life, it's not just you live life, that quality is also important. All right, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please, I beg you to consider doing so. Like my videos, share my video, click on notification bell so you receive notification anytime I upload a video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys. Bye.